Hello everyone and welcome to Mimic Minis. Today I'll show you how I've painted this Space Marine in my custom chapters color scheme. So stick around. So many of you ask me when will I be painting my last kit bashes, and for some time now I've been thinking about it. I didn't want to just paint them in a rush, also because I wasn't sure how I should approach them, as I was still figuring out the look I was aiming for. But now that I know how I will be painting them, I thought I should just show you. Just a quick note here, if you're interested, the channel Fog of Gore is also creating a custom Space Marine chapter based on questions he has this community, so if you're interested, go check his Discord and of course his YouTube channel. So, without going into much depth, this is what I ended up creating. For now I call them the ash scales. I wanted a paint scheme that was mainly metallic so it would be faster to paint, but also something that felt knightly and would work well with reds and blacks. With that decided, I started preparing the model in sub-assemblies so it would be easier to paint, since the arms and the head have different colors from the body. To start things off, I primed the body with lead belcher spray primer to give it a nice base layer. After that, I painted over the areas the spray hadn't reached, so the whole body was fully covered. I did the same for the head and arms, using white scar primer and paint. Then I painted the rubber parts of the armor using German grey from Vallejo. I then used lead belcher along with black for the metallic parts of the armor and weapons. After that, I used Nuln Oil to shade all the metallic parts. Now that the base colors were done, I needed to start working on the white, and that isn't so simple, as white is a very difficult color to work with. So I needed something that would be simple enough to do, but still give a great result. For that I made a very watered down version of Baneblade Brown, and carefully painted it into the recesses, and a little bit on the lower areas to create some shading. As you can see, this already gives the model a lot of depth and volume, as well as a nice interesting tone without taking away from the white. I then did the same for the Space Marine's chest aquila. As the helmet was basically done, I just needed to paint the lenses. For that I used blood leather glaze, and then very carefully applied Blood Angel's red contrast paint. Now for the leather parts. I painted a base coat of Rhinox hide, then applied the Nuln Oil wash. After that I added some texture with Mornfang Brown, followed by selective shading with Agrax Earthshade, and finally painted some tips and small scratches with Storm Vermin Fur. It's pretty simple and it gets the job done. It's now time for the main body. Since I wanted something simple, I needed a recipe that could give me a nice metallic effect. I took inspiration from a metal recipe shared by Daniel from Ultra Miniaturas, who is an amazing heavy metal painter. I went for a slightly simplified version of his approach, and as you may have already noticed, I had already shaded the metal with a wash. I used a 1-to-1 mix of Nuln Oil and gloss varnish, which I also took inspiration from the legend Dave Perryman, also known as Infernal Brush, who, if you don't already know, is the creator of the Heavy Archive, so definitely check that out and learn some great stuff. So, part of the recipe is to apply a light glaze using a watered down Druchii Violet. I focused on the lower parts of the armor, trying to create a natural gradient transition. And once I was satisfied, I repeated the same process for the rest of the armor. After the shading was done, I edge highlighted all the metallics with silver and added some scratches along the way, especially in the darker areas. If you're enjoying the content so far and would like to help support the channel, please consider checking out my Patreon page and becoming a member. You'll get access to the Mimic Minis Discord channel, behind the scenes content, and even a shout out at the end of my videos. Your support would be greatly appreciated. Another way you can really help the channel is of course by subscribing. This is still a small channel and your subscription would go a long way. So yeah, back to the video. Since this is a custom chapter, I had to make my own chapter icons. That meant designing them in Illustrator, preparing the file, and then laser printing them onto transparent water-slide decal paper. I tried applying one of them to the right shoulder pad, and I was amazed by the result. That red on white really brought the color scheme to life, so I went ahead and applied the chapter icon to the left shoulder pad as well. For that, I needed to cut the decal as close as possible to the shape of the icon, so it wouldn't be too noticeable. I also made a few small cuts in it so it would conform better to the shape of the model. After that, I used the decal fixer and enough water to position the icon where I wanted it. Once it was in place, I held it down with a wet finger and used a brush on the opposite side to remove any bubbles and help the decal conform to the surface. After it was applied, I used a decal softener to help the paper conform better to the curved surface. I also used a cotton swab, working from the center to the edges of the icon, to smooth it down. And this is how it looks. I painted black over the areas where the paper had torn, then added some scratches here and there. After that, I repeated the same scratches on the other arm and painted the silver artifact. It's time to talk about the base. I wanted something dark with black rocks and stones, but also something that would look good with a silver armor. So I thought that adding maybe a rusty reddish dust would really make it look awesome. I started by painting the main stones with German grey, then dry brushed everything with Mechanica standard grey. After that, I applied a wash of Null Oil. Once it was dry, I dry brushed again, this time with Storm Vermin Fur, and finished with another coat of Null Oil. Now that I had the base colors done, I started applying the pigment. I began by applying small amounts, focusing on the recesses. After that, I cleaned the stones slightly with a bit of water and then applied the pigment fixer. Once the fixer dried, I applied the pigment again, but this time heavily mixed with water, until I had a wash-like consistency. I then applied it between the stones, focusing only on the recesses and the small gaps between the stones and sand. I then painted the remaining metal parts on the base and added highlights to the stones using Storm Vermin Fur. I then attached the model to the base and painted a tiny white dot on the helmet lenses. The last thing to do was paint the rim black. And finally the model is complete. It is now ready for some reveal shots that I hope you enjoy. If you enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell because it would really help the channel. I still have a lot of things I want to show you guys, so yeah, see you next time. This is Mimic Minis and thank you all for watching.